We are not living, we are surviving. Surviving Nigeria in 2026.
The sun rises over Nigeria the same way it always has. Golden. Gentle. Patient. It stretches across the sky without hesitation, touching rooftops in Lagos, lighting up dusty roads in Kano, warming the hills of Enugu, and slipping quietly into the streets of Abuja. From a distance, nothing seems different. The light still comes. Morning still arrives. The country still wakes. But beneath that soft glow, something has changed. Something deep. Something quiet. Something dangerous. In 2026, Nigeria no longer wakes up to possibility. It wakes up to pressure. Before the sun fully rises, before the birds begin their morning songs, before the first horns echo across busy streets, millions of Nigerians are already awake. Not because they want to be, but because they have to be. At 4:17 a.m., in a one-room apartment somewhere in Lagos mainland, a man named Ao opens his eyes. There is no alarm. There is no need. His body has learned the rhythm of survival. He stares at the ceiling for a few seconds, unmoving. Not because he is tired, but because he is thinking, calculating, planning, worrying. His mind begins its daily routine before his body even moves. How much is left? What needs to be paid? What can wait? What cannot? He reaches for his phone. The screen lights up his face in the darkness, 78,000 Nigerian nairas. That is everything he has. He scrolls slowly. Rent. Food. Transport. Electricity. Data. Every number feels heavier than the last. He exhales quietly. Not in frustration. Not in anger. But in acceptance. Because this has become normal. This is how the day begins. Not with hope. Not with excitement. But with calculation. Across the country, the same moment is happening in different forms. In Kano, Hawa wakes before dawn. The air is still cool, but she knows it will not last. She sits on the edge of her bed, adjusting her scarf, her movements slow and deliberate. Her mind is already in the market. Will today be better? Will people buy? Will anything change? She does not say the questions out loud. She does not need to. They live inside her now. In Enugu, Chinedu turns on his side, staring at the wall. He had set an alarm the night before. But he has been awake long before it rang. Sleep no longer comes easily when your future feels uncertain. He glances at the stack of certificates on the small table beside him. They used to give him pride. Now, they give him pressure. In Maiduguri, Aisha wakes to silence. Not peaceful silence. Careful silence. The kind that listens before it speaks. She sits up slowly, scanning her surroundings out of habit. Because here, mornings are not just about starting the day. They are about confirming that the day is safe enough to begin. In Port Harcourt, Tamuno wipes sweat from his forehead even before stepping outside. The heat is already building. He hasn't eaten yet. But he knows he will still go out. Because hunger does not wait for comfort. Different places. Different people. Different lives. But the same beginning. Nigeria wakes up. Not to live. But to survive. As the sun climbs higher, the country begins to move. Generators roar to life. Kettles boil. Water is fetched. Shoes are worn. Doors open. And millions step outside. Into another uncertain day. The streets begin to fill. In Lagos, yellow buses scream through narrow roads, their conductors hanging dangerously from the sides, shouting destinations in rapid bursts. Ashadi. CMS. Yaba. Enter with your change. People rush. Not because they are excited. But because delay is expensive. Every minute lost is money lost. And in a country where money is already scarce, time becomes pressure. Inside one of those buses, AO squeezes into a tight space between two strangers. His shirt sticks to his skin. The air is thick, uncomfortable. But he says nothing. No one does. Because this, too, has become normal. He stares out the window as the city rushes by. Street vendors balancing trays on their heads, women calling out prices in crowded markets. Everyone is moving. Everyone is doing something. Everyone is trying. But trying is no longer enough. In Kano, the market slowly comes alive. Hawa arranges her goods carefully, adjusting each tomato as if presentation alone could change her fate. She watches as people pass. Some stop. Some ask. Most leave. She forces a smile anyway. Because business requires hope. Even when hope feels thin. In Enugu, Chinedu opens his email. Refresh. Nothing. He scrolls through job listings again. Requirements. Experience. Connections. He sighs. He has none of the things they seem to want most. And the things he does have, no one seems to need. In Abuja, traffic builds steadily. Cars line up in long, unmoving rows. Inside them are professionals. Graduates. Workers. Dreamers. All dressed well. All looking composed. But inside, many are struggling silently. Because in Nigeria today, struggle does not always look like poverty. Sometimes, it looks like stability. A man in a suit with no savings. A woman in heels with unpaid bills. A graduate with a degree. But no direction. This is the hidden reality. The quiet truth. The part no one posts online. Because suffering in Nigeria is not always loud. It is often silent. It is in the forced smiles. The delayed plans. The postponed dreams. The quiet sacrifices. It is in the mother who skips meals so her children can eat. The father who works multiple jobs but still cannot keep up. The youth who pretend everything is fine, while falling apart inside. And as the day moves forward, the weight increases. Prices rise without warning. Fuel becomes more expensive. Transport costs double. Food becomes harder to afford. Electricity becomes less reliable. And salaries remain the same. It is a cycle. A frustrating, exhausting cycle. Work more. Earn the same. Spend more. Struggle more. Repeat. And slowly, without anyone announcing it, Nigeria begins to change. Ambition begins to shrink. Dreams begin to fade. Hope begins to adjust itself to reality. Because when survival becomes your daily focus, there is little space left for anything else. No space for long-term planning. No space for creativity. No space for risk. Only survival. And survival is demanding. It takes everything. Your energy. Your time. Your peace. Your joy. Until one day, you realize you are no longer living. You are simply existing. Across the country, this realization is spreading quietly. In Oyo, a young man sits in his shop, staring at goods that are no longer selling. In Delta, a woman counts her money twice, hoping it will somehow increase. In Plateau, a farmer watches his crops, worried about forces beyond his control. In Akwa Ibom, a graduate scrolls endlessly through opportunities that feel out of reach. The details are different, but the feeling is the same. Pressure. A constant, invisible pressure that follows people everywhere. At work. At home. On the road. In their thoughts. And the most dangerous part is not the pressure. Itself. It is what it is doing to people. It is changing how they think. People no longer ask, "What can I become?" They ask, "What can I manage?" They no longer dream freely. They calculate carefully. They no longer plan boldly. They adjust constantly. And slowly, a nation of dreamers becomes a nation of survivors. By afternoon, the sun is harsh. The heat is intense. The roads are louder. The frustration is deeper. Tempers rise more easily. Patience becomes thinner. Small problems feel bigger. Because everyone is already carrying too much. A slight increase in price becomes an argument. A delay becomes anger. A setback becomes overwhelming. Not because Nigerians are weak, but because they are tired. Tired of pushing without progress. Tired of hoping without results. Tired of enduring without change. And yet, they keep going. That is the paradox of Nigeria. A country filled with people who refuse to give up. Even when everything makes it difficult to continue. By evening, the energy shifts. The sun begins to set. The noise softens slightly. But the weight does not disappear. People return home. Some with something. Some with nothing. Most with just enough to try again tomorrow. Ao sits on his bed again. Same position. Same room. Same thoughts. He checks his phone. Recalculates. Adjusts. Plans. Another day has passed. Not a day of growth. Not a day of progress. But a day of survival. And tomorrow, he will do it again. Across Nigeria, millions are doing the same. And slowly, without anyone declaring it, a silent truth settles across the nation. We are no longer living. We are surviving. And survival was never meant to be permanent. But what happens when it becomes all people know? What happens when an entire generation grows up? Not chasing dreams, but chasing stability? What happens when hope becomes optional? And survival becomes mandatory? These are the questions Nigeria must face. Because beneath the surface, beyond the noise, past the daily routines, a deeper reality is forming. A reality that cannot be ignored forever. A reality that demands attention. A reality that asks one simple but powerful question. Is this the life we were meant to live? Or have we accepted something far less? And called it normal? The sun will rise again tomorrow. It always does. But the question is no longer about the sunrise. It is about the people beneath it. Will they continue to survive? Or will they find a way to live again?
Lagos, the city of endless hustle. The first sound is not an alarm. It is a horn, sharp, impatient, demanding. It cuts through the early morning air before the sun fully rises, before the sky turns completely bright, before the city officially wakes. But Lagos never really sleeps. At 4:52 a.m., the streets are already alive. Dim streetlights flicker over moving shadows. Footsteps, voices, engines coughing to life, generators rumbling like restless beasts. The city is stretching awake. Not slowly, not gently, but urgently. Because in Lagos, if you are late, you are already behind. Ao steps out of his building, adjusting his shirt as he walks quickly toward the main road. The air is heavy. Not yet hot, but already uncomfortable. He glances at his phone. 5:03 a.m. Good. He is early. But in Lagos, early is just another form of being on time. As he approaches the bus stop, he sees them. Dozens, then hundreds. People already gathered. Waiting. Shifting from foot to foot. Checking their phones. looking down the road with quiet impatience. Nobody is smiling. Nobody is talking much, because everyone is thinking the same thing. Will I get a bus on time today? The road is wide, but it feels too small for the pressure it carries. Danfo buses rush past, some stopping abruptly, others ignoring the crowd completely. Conductors hang from the doors, shouting destinations at the top of their lungs. Ashidi, Ashidi, one chance. Enter with your change. CMS, CMS direct. No stopping. Yaba, Yaba. 2 seats. People surge forward each time a bus slows down. Not politely, not orderly, but urgently, because in Lagos, opportunity does not wait. You take it or you miss it. Ao moves with the crowd, elbows brushing, bodies pressing, voices rising. A bus finally stops. Before it fully halts, people are already climbing in, pushing, squeezing, negotiating space that doesn't exist. Ao manages to get one foot inside, then the other. He doesn't know how, but suddenly he is in, compressed, standing halfway between the door and someone else's shoulder. The conductor slams the side of the bus. Move inside. Shift. There is space. There is no space. But somehow, more people enter. The door closes with effort. The bus jerks forward. And just like that, the day has begun. Inside, the heat builds quickly. Windows are open, but the air does not move. Sweat forms almost instantly. Shirts stick. Faces glisten. Nobody complains. Because this is normal. Ao grips the metal bar above him, trying to balance as the bus speeds through uneven roads. The driver swerves aggressively, cutting between cars, chasing gaps that barely exist. Every movement is sharp, sudden, unpredictable. Outside, Lagos is fully awake now. Street vendors weave between vehicles, balancing trays of bread, fruits, bottled drinks, and snacks on their heads. They tap on windows, call out prices, negotiate through gestures, trying to make something, anything, before the day fully settles. A young boy approaches the bus at a traffic stop. He can't be more than 10, barefoot, holding sachets of water. Pure water, pure water. His voice is small but determined. Inside the bus, someone buys. Another looks away. Another checks their phone. Life continues. Ao watches the boy for a moment, then looks away. Not because he doesn't care, but because caring too much in Lagos can break you. The bus hits a pothole. Everyone shifts violently. A woman complains loudly. The driver shouts back. The conductor laughs. Someone mutters under their breath. This is Lagos. Unfiltered, unapologetic, unrelenting. After what feels like an hour, but is only 20 minutes, the bus stops again. Ashidi, Ashidi. People begin to get down. Others rush in. The cycle continues. Ao finally steps out. His shirt is already damp. His body slightly sore. His mind already tired. And it is not even 7 a.m. He begins to walk. Fast. Because Lagos rewards speed and punishes delay. Around him, the city pulses with energy. Offices opening. Shops unlocking. Banks preparing. Street corners filling. Everyone is moving. But not everyone is progressing. That is the quiet truth of Lagos. You can move all day and still remain in the same place. Ao reaches his office building. He pauses briefly at the entrance, taking a deep breath before stepping inside. Not because he is excited, but because he is preparing himself mentally. Work is no longer just work. It is survival. Inside, the air conditioning hits his skin. Cold, controlled, artificial comfort. A sharp contrast to the chaos outside. He greets a few colleagues. They respond politely, smiles exchanged. But they are not deep smiles. They are practiced ones. Because everyone here is carrying something. They sit at their desks, open their laptops, check emails, attend meetings, respond to tasks. On the surface, everything looks normal, professional, structured, stable. But beneath that surface, there is pressure. One colleague is calculating how to pay rent. Another is worrying about family back home. Another is thinking about leaving the country. Another is silently battling debt. Nobody says it out loud, but everyone feels it, because in Lagos, struggle wears a suit. By midday, the hunger begins. Ao checks his wallet, then checks the price of food. He hesitates. What used to be a simple meal now requires a decision. Should I eat now, or manage until later? He chooses something small, not because he is satisfied, but because he is adjusting. This is what Lagos does to you. It teaches you how to reduce your needs, how to stretch your limits, how to survive on less. But survival has a cost. Chips away at comfort, peace, joy. By afternoon, the energy dips. The heat outside intensifies. The workload inside continues. Time moves, but not fast enough. Everyone is watching the clock. Not because they want to go home, but because they are tired. Tired of the routine. Tired of the pressure. Tired of repeating the same cycle. Work, commute, eat, sleep, repeat. No growth, no change, just motion. And motion is not the same as progress. By evening, Lagos becomes something else entirely. The traffic returns, but heavier, slower, more frustrating. Cars stretch endlessly across major roads. Danfo buses weave aggressively. Okadas squeeze through impossible spaces. Horns blare without rhythm. Ao stands by the roadside again, waiting, just like the morning. But this time, he is more tired. The sun is setting. The sky is painted in soft orange and fading blue. Beautiful, peaceful, almost poetic. But no one is looking at it, because survival does not leave room for appreciation. A bus finally stops. The same struggle repeats. Pushing, squeezing, negotiating space. Inside, it is worse now. More tired faces, less patience, more silence. Nobody wants to talk. Everyone just wants to reach home. The bus moves slowly. Traffic holds it hostage. Time stretches. Minutes feel like hours. Ao leans his head slightly against the metal frame. Closes his eyes for a moment. Not to sleep, but to escape just briefly. When he opens them again, nothing has changed. Same road, same traffic, same struggle. And in that moment, a thought crosses his mind. Is this my life? Not in anger, not in rebellion, but in quiet reflection. Because this cannot be all there is. Or can it? The bus finally reaches his stop. He gets down, walks slowly this time. No rush anymore. The streets are still busy. But the energy is different. More exhausted, more subdued. He reaches his building, climbs the stairs, opens his door. Silence. He sits on his bed. Same position as the morning. He removes his shoes slowly, leans back, stares at the ceiling. The day replays in his mind. The rush, the pressure, the noise, the effort. And the result? Nothing significant, just survival. He reaches for his phone, checks his balance again, adjusts numbers again, plans again, because tomorrow, he will do it all over again. And he is not alone. Millions in Lagos are living this exact story. Different jobs, different locations, different backgrounds, but the same cycle, the same pressure, the same question. How long can this continue? Because Lagos is a city of energy, of ambition, of movement, but somewhere along the way, it became a city of survival, where people no longer chase dreams, but chase stability, where success feels distant, and survival feels immediate, where effort is constant, but results are uncertain. And yet, despite everything, people still wake up, still try, still push, still believe just a little, because that is the spirit of Lagos. Unbreakable, relentless, persistent, but even the strongest spirit needs relief, because survival is not the same as living, and a city filled with survivors is a city